bloody called me in. They phoned and said, can you come in to answer a few questions? I say, about what? They say, about the incident. Didn't even have a chance to put my makeup on. I don't wear much anyway. Just a little lift under the eyes. I've got terrible bags. Just like my poor mum, God bless her. By the end, she looked like a bloody panda. We had to do closed casket. It wasn't the bag so much, it were the cats. We didn't find her for a few days, you see. Anyway, I went there and they put me in an interview room with this officer. She introduces herself as PC Susan something or other. Susan indeed. I just call her Sue. She says she wants to ask me about what she calls the evening in question. She's not a sensitive soul. I can tell by her bone structure. So I tell her, he came home around 8. He always goes for a pint after work. I'd just finished my tea. We don't eat together on Fridays. It's too late for me. Anyway, I say to Sue, it was a Friday, so I had scampi and chips. And a battered sausage. I didn't order the sausage. They threw it in for free. They know me down there at the Gordon Fryer. They're good lads. Award-winning, it says on the door. One of the last old businesses left round here. I tell her, it's changing so fast. They knocked down the old estate to build these flats, but they crammed in so many, one on top of the other. It's like living in a fishbowl. You can see right into your neighbour's living room. Sue, the moody mare, tells me to get a bob on, to stick to the facts. I tell her, well, I know it's a lot of detail, but you asked, love, I'm only trying to help. She tries to apologise, but it's hard if you don't mean it. I'm not one to hold a grudge. So I get back to the evening in question. I tell her, he came home around 8, opened a beer and started cooking something healthy. He's ever so conscious of his physique. And very nice it is too. He works out in the living room. Some of the shapes he throws. Verges on the indecent. Not that I'm complaining, mind. I sometimes sit here with my puzzle book and watch him work out. Sue's having a good old judge at this, but I ignore her and press on. I tell her. He made his dinner, we watched telly, and then he got ready to go out. But he does not tart himself up on Fridays. Iron shirt, fresh socks, the works. Sue leaps on this like I imagine she leaps on the buy counter at Morrison's. She asks me if I ever go out dancing with Keon. I said, me? No. I'm not one for going out, me. I'm a homebody. Sue goes all Judge Judy again, so I tell her. We lead very independent lives, Keon and I. On Fridays, I do usually wait up till he gets back just to make sure he's home safe. It's a chore, as I'm not a night owl. Well, what time did he come back then, she asks. Well, around 2 a.m, I say. He was a little tipsy, nothing out the usual. Only, he brought someone back. A lady friend. Can you describe her? Sue perks up like she's just heard the ice cream van, so I say, no, I can't. I didn't get a proper look. And they went into the bedroom pretty swiftly, if you catch my drift. I think she had dark hair, but it could have been a wig or a weave. It did not look natural. And she was really heavy around the waist. Definitely a bear. And not one from Waitrose, if you know what I mean. So then Simple Sue has the cheek to ask me how I felt about that. Well, that's a very personal question, I tell her. But if you must know, I was fine about it. Keon had his urges, and I respected that. As I said, we had a very modern relationship. Sue snickers at that, but I ignore her. With that face, I doubt she knows what love is. She asks me if I saw Keon's lady guest leave. I said no, I didn't. I had to catch up on my sleep. I'm no Mother Bloody Teresa. There are limits to me sacrifice. Also, she seemed like the kind of woman who had quite a lot of practice sneaking out first thing in the morning, if you know what I mean. But Keon never emerged, I tell PC Plod. I had a bad feeling. I waited till Monday, and then I phoned, and thank God I did, otherwise, who knows how long before they would have found him. It would have been another closed casket situation, and I can't deal with that, not after Mother. What a way to go. Slipped in the shower and banged his head. Oh, it's so... What'd you call it? I heard it on Countdown the other day. Prosaic! Can't help but feel a little guilty. But what could I do? I can't see into the bedroom or the bathroom. They're on the other side of the building. When I say that, Sue starts acting all confused, judgy cow, and asks me to explain the nature of our relationship, and so I do. I tell her we moved in at similar times. You can think it was a coincidence that our windows faced each other, but that's not what my tarot said. I phoned Jill. She does my readings, you see, and it was as clear as day. The 9 of clubs. I mean, who can argue with the 9 of clubs? But Sue is having none of it. You can tell she's not a spiritual person. Did you actually meet? She asks. I say no, we didn't meet as such. I have already told you, I say ours was a very modern relationship. I mean, who has the time nowadays? Well, how do you know his name then? Because you just told me, I say. I know what she's thinking. So predictable. So I let her have it. I say, you should watch your manners. Stalker is a very nasty word, and I'm not nasty. A little lonely maybe, but I'm not nasty. And anyway, it wasn't just me, I tell her. Keon, he knew about us. He waved at me sometimes and explained me this. If he didn't want me to look, why didn't he close his curtains? Sue is stumped at that one. She says, so when you said you watched television together, I jumped right in and I say, we did. She said, how? I say, Keon would put something on. I'd see what it was and put the same on my box. So we did watch telly together. She gives me this look, you know the kind, and asks me if I want to speak to someone. I know what she means. I say, no, love, thank you. I'm ever so sad about Keon, of course, but I have learnt, after Mother, that time heals wounds. They should be starting the viewings around now. Flats round here get snapped up real quick. A very desirable area. Ooh, I do hope it's someone decent. Either way, it'd be good to have a look so I know what to ask Jill and the cards.